A little bit of Hanabi, a little bit of Mysterium, a little bit of Paint the Roses. Want to get shipwrecked with us? Hey everyone, I'm Kylie here at Games Unlimited in Pittsburgh, and today I get to talk about one of the things that's super exciting in my line of work is finding an older game you've maybe never heard of, and you sort of look at it, looks interesting, you give it a try, and turns out you love it. You know, we're often so focused on the new, hot new games, which are great, but when you find something older and you're like, ooh, this is really cool, I really like this, but often when that happens, I go and say, oh, it's out of print, it's not something I can get. But every once in a while, a game comes along that you love, you find out you can still get it, and you can expose people to this game that probably haven't heard of it before, because we hadn't heard of it before. What I want to talk about now is Shipwreck Arcana. This is one of those games that's doing something quite a bit different than I've seen before. It's got a new take on the sort of cooperative deduction style game. So when I first read the back of it, I thought a little bit about Hanabi. As I played it, I thought a little bit about Mysterium, how you're working together but trying to give clues. But whereas Mysterium is certainly more subjective in the imagery, this game is very much about logical deduction, which is why some of the people I played it with compared it to the newer title, Paint the Roses. So what you're doing here, you've got these super cool Arcana cards. These are cards that are going to show you basically how you can give clues to the other players. So this bag has these wooden squares in them with numbers 1 through 7, 2 copies of each number. And you're going to draw, when it's your turn, 2 of them from the bag. Now, one of them you're going to put out there, and hopefully, based on what you put out there and where you put it, the other players can guess what your other one is. Now, these cards each have certain rules on them. So, for example, this card says, if the sum of your fates, that's what they call these wooden chips, if the sum of them is odd, I can play one of them there. So, if I had in my hand a 5 and a 6, I could put the 6 out there. So the players know that the sum of this is odd. So since I put a 6 out there, they know that the card I have, the tile that I still have, must be an odd number. Because if you add an odd number to 6, you get an odd number. Now that's not enough information since, I mean, I've really limited it, narrowed it down to it could be a 1, a 3, it could be a 5, it could be a 7. It hasn't really given them a lot of information. But the other cards out there, they're going to be looking and saying, could I have played something at another card to give me more information? Or maybe that was the only place I could play. Because the thing is, I do have to play something somewhere, and it has to be a legal play. So sometimes I only have one place to play. Let me pull another example here. Unique. So if both of your fates are unique from each other, and all visible fates, so all of the tiles that are already out there from previous players' turns, if I put something there, I'm saying the card that's in my hand and the card that I played, they are not like anything else out there. Here's one that says the sum of your fates is 11 or more. This one can be real easy to get the players to guess. If I had a 5, let's say I had what would be a good example? Because I feel like we had this one come up. If I had a 4 and a 7, which adds up to 11, right? And I put the 4 there, then they know my other one has to be such that it adds up to 11 or more. It has to be the 7. Doesn't always work out that clearly, but it can happen in the game. So this is one of those games, everyone sort of, when it's your turn, you're trying to figure out where's the best place that I can play something to give the most information, and then you kind of have to have your poker face, be quiet. Let the other players see if they can figure out from what you've told them what you have in their hand. There's also cool things. These Arcana are going to change when a certain amount of numbers are put on them. They're going to flip over to their other side, and this is going to give you, the group, a special ability that they can use later on in the game. So it kind of helps you out as those things, what they do is called fading, and new cards are going to come out. You're trying to get a certain number of correct guesses before you have a certain number of incorrect guesses or a certain number of cards fade. So pretty easy to pick up and learn. Really great if you love logical deduction and trying to look out there and figure out how much information you can give your teammates, but maybe sometimes taking risks. I know I'm guilty of that in Hanabi, that I'll oh, well, if I do that, hopefully they'll know that I was thinking about this, but then I had to do something else. It usually doesn't work out for me in Hanabi, and doesn't really work out for me in this as well, but a lot of fun. This is Shipwreck Arcana, a definitely underrated game, underknown game that we're going to be pushing. We'll probably have this one out to demo, so you can stop out and take a look at it, take a copy home, and unbox some fun. I'm Kylie at Games Unlimited.